what should you do if you're skinny and fat? Because this is the absolute worst position to be in. You are a literal walking target for anybody to take the piss out of you. You look awful in a t-shirt because you don't fill it out. You look awful without the t-shirt on because your midsection's soft and flabby. So it's a very, very big problem. And I think first we need to rewind and understand, how did we get to this position? Partly it's not your fault, partly it's all your fault. Why I say it's not your fault is we are conditioned in today's society to take the easy route. There are food apps that will deliver the most processed and high-calorie food to your door. These foods are highly palatable, so you want more and more and more, and a dessert comes along with it. Along with that, lifting weights and actually going to the gym is quite fucking hard to do again and again and again, because it takes effort, it takes mental discipline, it takes suffering, and the average guy does probably not want to do that. But then the average guy also suffers with a lot of depression because he looks the way he does in the mirror. And then you get to the point where you just look so bad that you don't really think it's even worth doing. The mountain looks so big that to try and overcome it would just not even be worth your time and effort. Like, it's not that bad, and you just almost just accept how it is that you got there, and it's a very, very awful position to be in. Let me tell you right now and for free, life is a hell of a lot fucking better when you're in great shape. And it's a lot easier to stay in great shape when you are leaner and hold more muscle. The body naturally wants to keep in that condition. So it's fucking beautiful. So the foods that certain people eat, I could eat too. And I will not look like them because I've put the work in to get into this condition. Now, I'm not going to pull you to pieces anymore. This video, we're going to tell you exactly what it is you need to do, what I've done with clients in the past, and how we're going to get you from soft and squidgy to looking jacked and in good shape. Because boys, let me tell you, you only get one body. You're going to walk around this for the rest of your life. It's like a car that you can never give back. You have to walk around in this body. There's no getting around that. So literally, you should look after this more than you would look after your house, more than you would look after your car, more than you would look after other people, because this is your meat vehicle that is going to drive you around the world. So it really is very much worth investing. And if you are young, even if you're not young, it does not take that long to actually fix the problem. It takes a lot of effort, but it doesn't take that as long as you think it will to fix the problem. So we're going to get into the weeds of it. You've probably heard, should you bulk, should you cut, should you do this, that, and the other, and I'm going to break it down with some tangibles for you to take away. So before we go into that, get your fucking notebook and pen out, get ready to write down some data and some numbers, and we can then proceed to the main meat of the video. Okay, so what we need to do is assess this person's condition before we make any decisions and put him on any form of plans. Now, you will know your scale weight, I obviously don't, and I'm going to assume this guy is 80 kilo. He may not be, because we can't see his head or anything below the bottom of the picture. But for argument's sake, let's say he's 80 kilos. Obviously, in your situation, you will know your scale weight because you've weighed it. So we've got that. Now we need to assess how much body fat is this guy carrying. And a very good way to do this is to look at visuals, and that will give us a clear understanding. So we have a look at his physique here, and then what we do is pull up my calorie calculator and we assess where is he on this scale here. And I would honestly say he is as close to 25%. He's definitely softer than this guy. No fatter, I won't be that critical, but he is around 25% body fat. So he is fat. In my opinion, if you're above 20, you are fucking fat. And that's just the reality of it, boys. So we've got his body fat, 25. We've got his scale weight. His lean tissue is 60. His RMR, this is how many calories you need for normal daily function, is 1,666. Now, how active you are within a given day, you will be able to tell me, but you're going to assess it relative to this. Sedentary, so little to no exercise and a desk job, times this number by 1.2. Lightly active, light exercise, take a little bit of weights now and then, 3.5. Moderately active, so general training sessions, 3 to 4 days a week, what the average person you would expect does, 155. And this is about the average. Very hard. This 175, you're looking like when I was in the army, I would probably put myself on this. Builders, people that are labouring all day long, grafting, burning a lot of energy, and then your high-level athletes. 1.95. So you get this figure and you times it by your level of activity. Let's say he is 155, the average. We can understand this guy's maintenance calories is basically 2,600 calories to stay at where he is to hold the current condition, which fuck he doesn't want to do. He needs to go into a deficit. He needs to cut. Fact. If you are 25% body fat, you need to get rid of that as fast as humanely possible. You do not need to bulk. You need to pull that body fat off as quickly as you possibly can. Now, let's say if you're 20% and skinny fat, you still need to pull that body fat off. As a hard rule, unless you're in the 8 to 10% range, I wouldn't cut. I wouldn't. Now, where you sat relative to this would determine how much of a deficit, because I've got guys that are in between the two and starting off a bit skinny. You can put them around maintenance and they will build and they'll lose that body fat slowly and also build some muscle in the process. This is a beautiful thing about people that are skinny fat, where they can't have been in the gym or hardly ever. They will see change just from a 12-week block in the gym. So then, as we pull down the body fat, lo and behold, they look fucking bigger and leaner. So this is why it's so critical that you cut. Because if you go into a surplus and you start trying to bulk and build muscle, you're not that responsive to carbs and insulin here anyway. So you're never going to look that full. You're never going to be able to utilize the nutrients to actually drive performance in the gym. You're just going to store it as more fucking fat. And you're not as responsive to training stimulus. So this is why, as a hard rule, we always get lean first. Like, people make what should you do with skinny fat complicated. It's not fucking complicated. If you're not 8 to 10% body fat, you're going to get to 8 to 10% body fat as fast as you can. It just determines how much of a deficit do you need to go in. Depends on how much body fat you got, because you've already got loads of stores if you're 25% body fat. But to be slightly conservative, just to understand his body, we want to drop 1% of the scale weight per week, but I'd go in at 0.5% just because I think that would see some good change. And I guarantee these types of people, they've not tracked food, they've not eaten proper whole foods for a long time. So just by doing that alone, I've always seen reduction in clients on the scale as they go, and it feels like they're eating more when they're not. And that's a very good sign, because they're full, they're active, they can drive performance in the gym, but also they are actually getting leaner. And plus, if you go really, really big, really early, you've got no real place to go. And you can't go, obviously, any lower than RMR, because they'll be in the hurt locker, definitely. So I would go 0.5%. So it's going to put them at a deficit of, 300-ish? Well, probably 400 calories. So 440 is a fair amount of deficit anyway. That's enough for this guy. And I would assess how his body goes. Now, he should drop over that week with that deficit, and he'll probably continue to keep dropping. And he wants to keep going until, if he's 60% of lean tissue, you want to pull this guy from 80, probably all the way down to about 65, 66. For him to, and that's me pulling it straight off the top of my head. 60 kg plus 10%, 6 kilo, 66. You're looking at dropping 1% of the scale weight per week. It's going to be a bit more in the beginning. You probably get a kilo off for at least the first 4, and then it's going to become half a kilo as he gets closer towards that mark. He's probably looking at least 16 or so weeks to get down to that. But the whole time he's losing the body fat, he's in the gym building actual tissue, because if he's not trained for a long time, he is very responsive and will actually end up putting on some good muscle. So the whole process of the recomp will take place, and he will end up looking not as fucking good as this guy, No, I'm only joking, but he will look good. He will look a hell of a lot better. He'll be leaner, so the muscles will look bigger. The muscles will have been challenged, so they will grow bigger, and all of this will be tighter, and the midsection will come in. So I'm not going to go. It doesn't need to be any more really said than that. Obviously, you need to train fucking hard, and that's a whole new topic. I've done many videos on that. Go and check them out. But that is what I would do if this is what I do when I get these types of clients in. So if you like the sound of all this and you want me to do it for you live, then I can do. There'll be a link in the description to book a call to see if we're suitable to work together, or if you think I'm an asshole and you don't want to work with me ever in my life, and that is also absolutely fine too. But no, thank you for watching. I hope you took value from it. Always subscribe to the channel. Don't fucking come here for free shit without subscribing. I'm watching you. But yeah, good man. Follow me on Instagram as well. We're getting daily posts are out on there as well as on here. So yes, good. See you tomorrow.